Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Death Valley Discoveries. This is episode 9 in my series, and today I'm back in the Owlshead Mountains. This is actually my 29th lifetime day hiking in the Owlshead Mountains, and I'm going to be taking you with myself and my friend Jordan to a very special canyon loop that I first did about 12 years ago in the spring of 2012. We're going to be visiting a place that I call Passage Canyon and then looping into Great Dryfall Canyon, which was seen briefly in my Smoke Tree Slots episode. So let's head back into the eastern Owlsheads. We parked at the bend on Harry Wade Road just south of the Amargosa River crossing. This is generally the parking area for Sand Canyon, but Passage Canyon is the next major canyon north of Sand. So we're just heading off in that direction, and it's kind of hard to see the canyon entrance from here, but we're going to be working towards it. As we're hiking up this decomposed granite fan, there's generally 3 things that are spotted along the ground, and that includes tortoise burrows, because this is desert tortoise habitat, and then balloons that will be caught in bushes, which we have to clean up, and then military debris in the form usually of large bullet casings on the ground scattered here and there. So every hike out here, those are the things I notice the most, but we'll see if that holds true today. Here's the first example of a tortoise burrow. See right here, desert tortoises live in there most of the year, and right here you can kind of see it's an active tortoise burrow because there's fresh dirt that is piled up outside of it. Right here we're doing a little crossing. We're going across the Sand Canyon drainage. Following that up into the mountains leads into Sand Canyon, one of the nicest canyons to hike in the Owlsheads. We crossed over a series of small hills just north of the Sand Canyon drainage, and now we've kind of turned and are directly heading toward the range, which, as you can see, is not far away. When I originally hiked these canyons, I found a black mineral or sandy substance along the ground on the washes, and I often wondered what that was. And I found some of the substance right below me here. Right here you can see the black sandy substance or mineral along the ground. For 12 years since I first hiked this canyon, I've wanted to test that black substance to see if it's magnetic. Here we are. We've arrived at the mouth of what I call Passage Canyon. And we're going to drop into it now and start heading up. We are now in the wash and heading up Passage Canyon. And the reason I'm including this here on my Discovery series is that this canyon and the next one north that we're going to loop into, Great Dryfall Canyon, I was the first person to document hikes through both of them, and that's why I assigned them informal names. In this canyon that we're in, the first one, Passage Canyon, about 1.5 miles up canyon, there's a feature that I call the Passage. So you'll see that here in a little bit. A few flowers in bloom here in the canyon. Here in the early part of the canyon, there's a major junction. And it kind of looks like the main route is to the right, but it's actually the left. The left fork is Passage Canyon, the main canyon that cuts through the range. The right fork does not go as far. So we'll be heading this way. Off to our right here is the first very impressive hillside of decomposed granite formations. rising up high out of the hill. Here's a nice view looking back down the canyon, showing some of our progress as we've gone up. And been rounding a number of bends. A lot of twists and turns here. One of the things I've noticed as we're hiking up this canyon has a fairly steep grade, so slows down progress just a notch. But yeah, we're really climbing deep into the mountains. Here's our first obstacle in the canyon. Series of boulders, like a boulder blockade here wedged in. There's Jordan bypassing it. Easy bypass, fun obstacle. Kind of an unusual thing about these canyons here in the eastern Owlsheads is the fact that only the first 5 at the northeastern end are officially named. But there's just as large canyons as you continue south. So that's why hikers, including myself, who have gone through them, have given unofficial names, such as Smoke Tree Canyon, Great Dry Fall Canyon, Passage Canyon, Sand Canyon, Wind Caves Canyon, Quartz Canyon, etc. So we assign informal names based on what the defining features or interesting aspects of these canyons. And it helps to identify them so people know what we're talking about. I've just started noticing as we're getting into this part of the canyon, the mid canyon, a lot of boulders of various sizes have tumbled into the wash here. And we're going to see some even bigger ones later on, but these are already quite large. Lots more boulders in the canyon, and at the same time as all these boulders have fallen in, the canyon gets steeper. Navigating through a maze of them right here. Here is the series of boulder falls we just climbed. Again, another fun climb. Just above those boulder falls, the canyon has opened up wide, but also what's neat, we can see way back to the back part of the range here. So really far view from this spot. The two sides of the canyon have interesting texture here on the rock walls. So we look ahead, really neat section of canyon here. Just kind of looking back, there's this water passage where looks like the water flows down canyon, kind of hits against this, has to turn back this way, and then continue down canyon. But it's kind of interesting, hits that barrier, but it goes quite far in and then just kind of circles back. I have to say, the canyon has gotten really interesting here in the upper half of it. A lot to see, a lot of unique features with just rocks and boulders and decomposed granite all over the place. And I'm excited because we're just about to the passage. Really neat looking hillside up here to our left heading up canyon. Just rocks sticking up all over the place. A lot of tight bends through here. Here is a huge jumble of boulders. Again, blockading the canyon a little bit, but easy to climb over. And it's not letting up. We are about to enter into the passage, which this canyon is named for. Now, what is the passage? Well, it's an area where the canyon walls come close together, but both canyon walls are made of decomposed granite. It's a very unique feature that is not often found here in this particular range, so that's what makes it so special. So let's go ahead and climb up and into the passage and walk through it. And that was the passage. I was thinking as I was walking through it there that truly this canyon is well named Passage Canyon, because this is the defining feature of the canyon. This narrow passage between decomposed granite walls. So I'm just gonna walk through it one last time here. Really need to be back here after 12 years. So as you can see, the passage, very narrow wash here. And then here at this end, a little fun climb. And that leads to the end. And this great view looking back down it. Coming up on a bit of a major boulder jam right here. Looks like Jordan's found a passage through. Literally crawling through to continue up canyon here. Jordan's got his first balloon of the day. Packing it up, carrying it out. Thank you, Jordan. Quite a bit of climbing we've been doing lately. So we get into the upper reaches of this canyon. The canyon has really opened up. Large basin type area back here in the upper canyon. As we walk through this open area here, this open basin area at the top of the range, I just want to kind of mention something about Owlshead canyons. So on most of these canyons that drain to the east, you don't just hike up the canyon and come back down and then that's it for the day, but rather you hike up the canyon and you create a loop where you loop over to the next canyon in either direction and then take that canyon back out. So you get to see two canyons in one day instead of just one. And most of these canyons, it's very wouldn't say easy, but it's not too challenging to do so, to jump over from one to the other. So that's what you'll see us doing here in a few minutes, leaving Passage Canyon and heading up to a small ridge that separates this from Great Dry Fall Canyon. Cactus growing out of the decomposed granite wall. Nice purple flowers growing out of the rock right here. Pretty much at the end of the canyon, it splits into a couple forks here. But if you look all the way at the ridge way in the background, if you climbed up to that, you would have a view of Owl Lake, which would be quite awesome. But we're gonna just turn in this fork and then begin our crossover to the right side. So right about here, the spot with that hill there in the background, we're gonna take a right and begin climbing this little ridge. We only got to gain about 200 feet in elevation to cross over. Let me show you the view here looking back into the upper reaches of Passage Canyon. Across the way I see a potential route into Sand Canyon, but I've never tried it. We were actually only about halfway up the bypass, and now we have completed the other half. Look at this view. This is the basin up at the top of Passage Canyon. Such a great view. Then this is the crossover saddle right here. And then here is our first view and our drop down into Great Dry Fall Canyon. We just got down from the bypass, so a little bit challenging coming down that. Some steep spots, but we worked our way down slowly and safely. And now we're heading down the upper portion of canyon, the wash of Great Dry Fall Canyon. And here's that black substance on the ground right here. We see it right away. It was in Passage Canyon, and it's also here in Great Dry Fall Canyon. The first time I looped these canyons, Passage Canyon and Great Dry Fall Canyon, I found that black substance in the wash, and I suspected it might be magnetite or something magnetic, but I never could tell for sure, so I just didn't know. So I always wanted to come back and test it to find out if it was magnetic. And so let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, we're now in Great Dry Fall Canyon, and as I just showed, this black substance or mineral or sand is spread out here in the wash everywhere going down. So again, I got a couple magnets here picked up at Furnace Creek gift shop, and here show you they're magnetic, holding it. So I'm going to try to pick up this black substance with the magnet right here. Now look at the back of the magnet. You can see it has picked that substance up and it is attached to the magnet. So yes, this is definitely magnetic, whatever this black sand or substance is here in the canyon. Right here in the canyon, first major dry fall. Of course, this canyon is known as Great Dry Fall Canyon, but you could say there's several Great Dry Falls. This is not the main one, but this is going to be a challenging one to get down. We just came down that first part of the dry fall, a little bit tricky. Got to take it slowly and safely, and then this is the bottom half of the dry fall. Here's my friend. After getting down those upper dry falls, we're heading down canyon, and very nice wash. Up on the hillside right there, there's a rock that's just kind of sitting, smaller rock sitting on top of that larger rock formation. Almost looks like it could just roll over. Coming up on a nice looking canyon wall right here. Here's a little bit different type of canyon wall. Also quite impressive. Can you believe the size of this boulder? Love the boulders in the Owlshead Mountains. More giant boulders in the wash. Oh, interesting little drop down right here. There's a picture of my sister holding up or pretending to hold up this rock and support it. I just always remembered that from hiking up here with her 12 years ago. Here is the first smoke tree in the wash of Great Dry Fall Canyon up above the dry fall. Take a closer look at it. Here's a younger smoke tree. Looks like it's taken really strong root here in the wash. More smoke trees as we are approaching the rim of Great Dry Fall. Here's the view from the top of Great Dry Fall. See a smoke tree right on the edge. And then Jordan's looking over the edge here of the upper portion of the fall, right here. But then it drops way down there. Look at this. Very aptly named Great Dry Fall. And then looking down into the canyon below. Really nice late afternoon lighting there in the background. So let me just show one more slightly zoom view of Great Dry Fall. Truly incredible view right here looking over the rim of Great Dry Fall. Rehiking these canyons, Passage Canyon and Great Dry Fall Canyon, I really feel like I chose great informal canyon names for both. This is just a really incredible and special place right here. If you watched my Smoke Tree Slots video, which was Death Valley Discoveries episode 1, you saw the view from the bottom of Great Dry Fall. And now I've shared the view from the top too. We have one last thing to do here in Great Dry Fall Canyon. We've turned up a side canyon. Oh, now that's a nice tortoise burrow. It looks quite active. Right there, he's probably sleeping in there right now. Very neat. But getting back to what I was saying, we're heading up a side canyon, heading off to the right or kind of like northwest of Great Dry Fall. As we're heading up this random side canyon, it kind of just reminds me that there's so much left to explore here in the Owlshead Mountains. I've focused mainly on the main canyons, but there are just tons of side canyons just waiting to be explored. Even just walking through here for the last 10 minutes, seeing some interesting formations, dry falls, and caves in the rock. Just a lot to see. I love the look of that hillside in the distance, right in the middle. Kind of looks like 3 boulders supporting one boulder that's on top of the 3. Really neat. For the first time today, there's been some nice displays of desert gold. Well worth checking out this side canyon just to see these flowers. We're now heading down what I call Bypass Wash, because it bypasses Great Dry Fall and gets you back to the bottom of the canyon. Right here, Bypass Wash is making a few left turns. Neat short narrows here through Bypass Wash. Here's the final section of Bypass Wash. You can see it gets steep and rocky. There is the main canyon far below. Taking the last few steps out of Bypass Wash, the upper portion of the bypass is much easier. The lower portion is a bit rocky with some climb downs and things like that. But we got through it. Just rejoining Great Dry Fall Canyon right now. First thing I'm doing is passing by a smoke tree. Back in the main canyon. Great Dry Fall would be up canyon behind me. As I head out of Great Dry Fall Canyon, just want to thank you again for joining me on this episode of Death Valley Discoveries, along with my friend Jordan. Hope you enjoyed checking out the Owlshead Mountains once again, this time with Passage Canyon and Great Dry Fall Canyon.